have a background in biology. I did my bachelor's in astronomy and my master's in physics, and then I decided to do an interdisciplinary PhD in biomaterial science, where I could combine my knowledge in material science with biology and cell biology to find ways to make better implants. And that was, also at the same time when the whole nanotechnology field started to, make a big fuss, and it was really a new thing. And I started to look into that, and it seemed really exciting, because it required you to be both a chemist, a physicist, a biologist, a doctor. So it also enabled you to learn some new stuff. So that's why I decided to do that as a PhD. After that, I spent some time at Harvard University. I got a sub-audit postdoc fellowship, which allowed me to go to Harvard for 2 years. There, my main focus was mainly on trying to learn more about stem cell biology. How can you use mesenchymal stem cells to grow bone tissues from scratch. So that also enabled me to learn even more about something that was quite unfamiliar in terms of my background, which is physics. So I got some insight into biology and stem cell biology. And I've discovered from that journey that it's really difficult to work with stem cells. It's really difficult to try to use stem cells to grow tissues from scratch, which was the plan with that postdoctoral fellowship. So I started to focus more after that on what I was good at, namely material science, advanced materials, adaptable materials, intelligent materials, electronic materials, soft electronic materials, sensors, cyberorganics, cybernetics, bionic devices, and how can we make that in a simple way that where these electronic devices can blend in seamlessly with the human body. And for that I got a William grant, a William Investigator grant back in 2015, and then Pirouz came in 2016, and then I guess we've done some nice stuff. I'm really pleased with the outcome. We've managed to make this really cool electronic glove that you can use for hand rehabilitation. You can use it to control a drone. You can use it for gaming, for virtual gaming, virtual surgery, and we have all of these cool materials, care gums, care gels, which I can talk about later. But the team that I'm leading right now has a special name. It's called Team Bioengine, and Bioengine is short for biologically inspired engineering. And the inspiration from that actually came from the WIS Institute, where I also did my postdoc after my PhD. And the WIS Institute is all about using inspiration from nature and from native biological systems to develop something that is better than synthetic counterparts. And that's also what we're doing. Most of the stuff, most of the materials that we're aiming at, most of the systems architectures that we use in our material designs do come from inspiration from nature, and that's where the name Bioengine comes from. Team is there because team is important. What makes DTU, what makes Denmark strong is not that we have 1 billion people. It's because we work good in a team, and that's important. That everybody try to give their best from where they have their talents, because it's difficult to find somebody who can do everything, and that's not the way to do it. So you're a team. Everybody has some unique competences. Some are good with making videos like you. Some are good with chemistry. Some are good with electronics. And I think that's one of the strengths in our team. One of the secret recipes behind some of the successes we have had in recent years. The teamwork. That's why the name of the group that I am leading, or we are leading, because I also believe in shared responsibility. So we are like some permanent staff that really takes charge. So it's not my group per se. it's our group, and the reason that it's called Team Bioengine is because of this long flow that I just like to get into. So yeah, do you have any other questions? Yeah, I mean, I do think that nobody wants to be a cyborg because that entails that you have to, you know, have some components and some prosthetics that are being alien to the human body. So to convince humanity and to convince, not convince, but to have something that can blend in with them and that is, straightforward to use among people, you need to have something that is more seamlessly integrated to the human body, not big metals or rigid wires or dangling components. You need to have something that is as native-like, as human-like, as human adaptable as possible. And that goes back to the material part, like how can we make these substrates, these electronics, in a way that they can be blended in with the human body in a way that you don't even notice it. Then we can talk about, enhancement of human beings with electronics and then artificial devices. So the field is divided into two parts. One is that, some patients do need to have a pacemaker, and it doesn't matter for them if it's bulky or not, they have to survive. Some patients do need to have nerve implants. Some patients do need to have brain-machine interfaces. And then the other part is there's also a small community of biohackers and people who are experimenting kind of like on themselves. And I say, don't do that. It's dangerous. I would say no to that, of course. But the whole user enhancement and the whole consumer part of this, where consumers may be in the future going to also use these devices to become better versions of themselves. I think it's still too early because I would not like to have something alien like a metal part on me. Why should I do that? But if you can make something like nanobots or something with a skin-like, device that just blend in with you, don't even know it's there, but it makes you better. It enables you to monitor your health parameters. It enables you to know if you're going to have diabetes 5 years before, or whether you're going to be a person with Alzheimer's. You will know that 10 years before, maybe even. We need to have materials, electronics, and systems that are more, native-like, more natural. As I said, our inspiration comes from nature, not just because we can make better materials, but also because that's the way we can make these systems become, an ally of the human being or the human body instead of a foreign foe. Openness is really important, and transparency. I think it's important that we sit together and just have a nice brainstorm about whatever it's on your heart or whatever ideas you have. I think ideas are not ours. Ideas belong to everybody, so you should share your ideas. And I know from experience that it's difficult to bring all of your ideas to a successful completion. Most of them just stays in your head and then you forget about it. To me, it's important to have an open dialogue, even collaborate, so you can have this trust and these discussions without being protective about your science or about what you want to do. So openness and transparency is important. That's the most important thing. So if that's there, then I guess I'm really happy to collaborate. Then there are also optimism, but that's not a need, because I'm optimistic myself, so I have great ideas. But sometimes it's also good to complement my optimism with some pessimism, because sometimes maybe my ideas are too outrageous. So it's good to have somebody who's like, "Oh, Ali, this is not going to work out. Calm down." But openness and transparency is the key components, because I do believe that everybody has good ideas. Everybody has some unique competences, and just by sitting down and talking to people, you can really learn some new stuff and get inspired by them. It's the same thing. Openness and transparency, that people are honest. Honesty is really important. I mean, it's not nice to be among dishonest people. So honesty and transparency, teamwork, that you are social and that you can work in a team. And everybody has unique talents. Sometimes you need somebody who's talented with electronics, sometimes in chemistry, sometimes in the software engineering. So that is, in my opinion, secondary, because there's so much talent in the world. But it's important to have talent that you can integrate in a team and who are pleasant to work with. Yeah. You can ask more questions.
Okay.
Just, I think the sad part is, at least that's how it is in Denmark right now, is that funding to basic research is not too much. And that's a sad thing, because it's a basic research that you discover graphite or carbon nanotubes, or where you discover DNA. Those breakthroughs actually come from basic research. It comes from just that you are allowed, that you have the freedom to do things without being expected to deliver patents or publications or something that the society can use in 5 years. I mean, look at the relativity theory. I mean, that was not applied. It was basic, but it was really important that we have relativity theory in place. So basic research is important. Unfortunately, my pathway has gone more to the, not unfortunately, because applied science is also good, but I do wish to have more basic science going on. I do wish that we could do more basic chemistry. That's also one of my future goals, to go in that direction. Applied science should also be there. That's also why I decided not to be a physicist, but to do this interdisciplinary research. Why I decided to go to nanoscience is because it's quite sad if you're sitting in your office and you're looking at numbers and you're developing programs to analyze those numbers, and those just is something that you would share with your closest colleagues. It's really more exciting, I feel at least, to be able to do something that has a short-term impact on society, like developing a product, a new system, or a new drug that can kind of like impact people tomorrow, not for 100 years in the future.
How do you see the ecosystem of Denmark?
Yeah, I think at DTU we have a fantastic, tech support in terms of startups. We have DTU Skylab. We do have a lot of projects in DTU Skylab. We have CyberSense, Rograph, ESO, and it's fantastic because I've also been in Holland. I've worked in a hospital. I've also been at Harvard, and I do want to say that the tech support, the innovation team at DTU is really fantastic compared to any other place I've been to. Generally speaking, about Denmark, I think we have some good opportunities, both in terms of the Innovation Foundation and the Novo Nordisk Foundation. And there's also a Novo Seed, section of Novo Nordisk that focuses on also on innovation, actually. So I think it's, I wouldn't say it's the best place in the world to do innovation, but I think we are quite ahead.
And the last thing that we over.
Yeah.
Or in general, how do you think diversity is important?
Yeah, I mean, I think a good team needs to have different key components. If it's just too homogeneous, then everybody does the same and they think in the same way. I mean, that's not a good team. A good team is like if you have an orchestra, somebody plays the violin, somebody plays the bass, somebody does this, does that, does this, does that. So it's important to have people with different competences, but also with maybe different insights. And also, if you want to kind of like learn something new, you have to also sometimes interact with people that are different than you are. Otherwise, you cannot learn something new. So I think it's important to be open and to have both females and males, and people with different backgrounds in a team, and try to also have that as a goal. And I must say that that's also important when we hire, that we try to look at diversity as well. So we have a diverse team,